Hey guys, Ruben here. Welcome to my second video. I'm doing this as just a regular video because fortunately I can't live stream yet. I just started the channel and I do not have enough subscribers, so it's all good. I'll try and be pretty thorough about certain things that I want to talk about, but I think the channel would be kind of cool if I did requests from fellow users, owners, and also requests from people who are interested in the machine or who also use hyperspin and stuff like that, and I can kind of show you what I've learned. I'm not an expert by any means, and there's other guys out there who know this machine just as well, if not more than I do. I'm still learning, but I have a tendency to tear apart every single game, get into those folders, get into EXEs and whatnot, and just really figure out how to get games running as best I can. Anyways, I have a little list real quick, and I'm going to start off by going through a couple things I've learned in MAME, particularly with the spinners and whatnot. I did choose to have two spinners, as you can see, and I'll show you why. I do love the brick games, Tempest games and whatnot, and it's really cool because you can configure them in MAME. The more you own this machine, of course, the more you become familiar with what is where, where the categories are at, and it's pretty daunting. There's a lot of stuff on here, but when you first fire up the machine, Arcade Classics is the first one. So I have my favorites, and these are all the ones that I've put in that category that I play the most. I love breakout games, I love Tempest, I love anything that has to do with spinner. And so what's cool about it is that you can configure it however you want. I got two of them because some people who like to play like to use their left hand, and some people who like to play like to use their right hand. And so if you go into MAME right here, and anybody who's familiar with the MAME controls, if you're not, it's a couple of moves on the joystick. You'll learn it, you'll get an instruction manual on how to do it. But if you go in and you find your analog, you can enter that button and move around your spinner. Back out of the machine, and now your spinner is operating the machine. And for the Tempest heads out there, it's just way more fun, in my opinion, to play games like this with it. It's a lot more fun, and it just kind of brings you more of the arcade experience now. Another thing I've learned, of course, right here is when you assign whatever controller you want to that particular game, you can go into analog controls, and sensitivity is the only thing you got to be concerned about. The sensitivity controls the amount of how fast the controls in the game work with the spinner, whichever spinner you're using. 15 seems to be a really good number for this particular game, but other games you might change it. Lowering it, raising it will make it quicker or slower. Simple as that. So what's cool about it, since it's so configurable, you can go back in here, clear it out to none, do the left one, and you can actually set it so either one is usable in the game. So when you go back, get the game moving again, you say you're playing a two-player game and your homie is left-handed, boom, they can use that left spinner. Then say it's your turn, you come in, boom, you can use that right way. It just adds a different play, a whole new arena to how you want to play your games. And I had a friend on YouTube, I think, asked me about what happens if you don't purchase a spinner. Not a problem. As long as you got a trackball, which I at least recommend getting a trackball, is that you can configure that to the game as well. So see how it moves? It moves just like you would. So you want to save some money, don't get the spinner, no worries, man. Get that RGB trackball or trackball or regular one, and you're good to play. I love these breakout games, they're super fun. And you know what, honestly, some of them are easier and more fun to play with the trackball, especially if you're sitting down for long periods of time and you don't really want to get up in a bigger position or standing position. In the case of my 4-player pedestal, sometimes it gets a little tricky because you're over on top of these other joysticks. Okay, so same thing, go in here. And keep in mind, not every game is created equal. Sometimes you'll see analog, sometimes you'll just see left or right. In this case, it's player 1's left, player 1's right. So typically the arcade machine just had a button for left and a button for right, similar to, say, Space Invaders. So what you do is you go into the input and you move it how you want to correspond with the command. Boom, all of a sudden you got it. And then it goes through any of these. Any game is configurable, that's what's cool about it. What's also cool is having the flight stick. I've had a couple people asking me about the flight stick. And let me show you real quick. Let's go to a game, say, Darius. Here's a classic. So what's cool is that you can use your 8-way on this, you can use your 4-way on this, but you can also configure it to this flight stick, which makes it kind of fun. So here it is as normal. You want to pause the game, go into the settings, and then what you want to do is just assign it. You're basically just giving it commands, and you can even do the buttons. So I'll do the fire button to the, and then I'll do the missile button to this one right here. Okay, return to the game. It's really cool is it just adds a different dimension to the gameplay. You know, some games are a little easier to play with it, some games are not. It's a must-have for games like Zaxxon and Gorf. I mean, that's the original machines that came with this kind of joystick, so I highly recommend it if you're really big into those games. But again, you can configure it however you want to. What I really like about being able to configure things is there's a lot of cool, just regular main games that are pinball games. And this is one of my favorites. It's called Pinball Action. What's really cool about it is, again, you can configure however you want to use those buttons for it. And you know, this is normally how you would do it if you didn't have the pinball buttons. You would just operate it through here. But since I have these buttons down here, the battleship design, I can play this bad boy with my battleship. I got the nudge, both left and right are the nudge, and I configure this as the plunger as well. So, and if you're a pinball guy like me, I'm a pinball. I love pinball games. It really does make the games a lot more fun as opposed to just sitting there and pushing a button, which is cool too. Not hating on it, but this definitely makes a difference. Makes you feel like you're playing a little bit more of the real deal. Again, your nudge, on your nudge, left paddle, right paddle. Another classic is a TurboGrafx 16 game. And by going into the main settings, I'm able to use the plunger button, and I configured it so the paddles are there, and that the nudge buttons nudge the game. Again, it just makes it a whole different ball game with this battleship. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, this is just literally for main games. Is there a lot of main games that are cool, pinball games? Yeah. There's a couple of them. I'll probably do a little YouTube on showing all the ones I like. This one and the last one, Pinball Action, Devil's Crush, Alien's Crush are the best. They're the most fun. But there is a couple of other ones out there. That's part of the fun, is just discovering all these games, because there's thousands of main games, as everybody knows. There's thousands of them. And real quick, showing you, whenever you're in a console, you can change out that side art. You can change it to whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but whatever the game offers. There'll be a couple different ones for each game. And sometimes they'll just be main ones, like standard main ones that are for every game. Anyways. Just a reminder, when you're configuring these buttons, and you go in there and you're in the settings, if you have a keyboard and you attach that keyboard, you will all of a sudden you will see another row of those buttons automatically entered in it. Don't let it freak you out. It just means that the keyboard is enabled too. So if you really wanted to, you could sit in your chair and play the games with just keyboard buttons too. Game's acting weird, you can reset it, left joystick, hold on the first player. And again, if I really wanted to, I could configure this to asteroids as well, if I really wanted to. So it's just another reminder. Some of these games, the controls aren't automatically set up for you. You have to go in there. Golden Tee is one. Sometimes you just got to go in Golden Tee and just set it however you want to. You just got to be familiar with which button does what. Real quick, somebody wanted to see what the purpose of this switch here is over here. And basically just acts like a mouse. So as soon as you hit it to the right, you can operate your mouse like it was or your trackball like it was a regular mouse. You can right click, you can open up folders, and here you'll see all of your, this is basically just showing all the folders for the PC. But when you need to do any kind of adjustments or going in folders or what have you, if you need to, you just set that button over and you're able to copy, move around, and adjust however you want. If you need to add text, that's where that keyboard comes in handy. There is a pop-up keyboard. It's a little trickier to use. I highly recommend just buying a keyboard. And it also helps when you go into the search function, because you can use that keyboard to look up stuff, as opposed to doing it this way, which could be a little daunting. You can use the keyboard to put in whatever you want. So I had a request for somebody wanted to see a Daphne game or two. Daphne is it's a tricky system. Some games run great, some games don't. Sometimes it hangs a little bit here and there. There's better versions of Dragon's Lair games, and another thing I can show you. It's basically just called the THX Laserdisc, and these are hands down better versions of all the Dragon's Lair and the space games. They're just better resolution. Daphne will kind of emulate it in the old school lower resolution. So, but you can play them in this. So here's one game. It's called Galaxy Ranger. It's pretty cheesy. Again, your credit works just like any other one. Real world. I've never played this game before, so. Oh. Yeah. Got me. So there you go. Daphne does play in a smaller resolution because, you know, these games are pretty old. So it just looks better as opposed to using a whole screen. Some of these games I've heard of Road Blaster. That's a pretty cool game. And I have this actually on my PC and my 3DO. There are some weird ones though. There's some weird ones. Alright, let me show you real quick. A lot of people have been asking about the pinball, and I'm just going to show you visual pinball real quick. I'll give it a little up here. Sometimes, like I said, the software is a little buggy. Some games run better than others. But once you start to learn the tricks, basically what I did there is I did like a quick Control-Alt-Delete, and it basically just shows me the active windows that are going on. So if something's not front loading, you can choose it in there, and all of a sudden you're good to go. Some games automatically do it fine. Some you can have issues like that. There's ways to get around it. So here we go. You can change the size of your DND right here in the corner. And then, again, plunger, paddles, do one more. I would definitely say out of all the emulators and programs, Visual Pinball is kind of the lower end one. Graphically it's not as impressive, but it's still fun. There's still good to be had there. I definitely would increase the textures and the resolution on it. It makes a huge difference. Okay, I'm going to show you one last thing for the pinball guys. Future pinball is definitely more graphically impressive. On here is you can change views, check high scores. scrolling, you can get scrolling, but be warned, you get sick. And there's literally hundreds of games, hundreds of pinball games. Some of them don't work. Gilligan's Island, I couldn't get to work. I'm still working on that. And, you know, they're emulators. Occasionally you'll have problems here and there, but for the most part.
Exit system.
And then I had a friend who on their Facebook, I think he wanted to see a Wii U game. Let's do a quick Wii U game and then get it back. Fire up the controller here. So make sure your controller is connected. And it operates just like a regular game. These games look great. It's just like you're playing the real thing. Take a while. Legit, it looks just like the Wii U. Alright guys, that's it for now. Just wanted to go over a couple things and show you what's going on, and hope that helps. Catch you later.